Okay, so this is something I really want to talk about because I feel like it's so under-talked and it's only talked through like a negative lens, and I think that's so stupid because we need some compassion for this thing. And although it's very annoying because it's also annoying me a lot, I think it's also something that from an evolutionary perspective we have been surviving on quite literally. And so I think it's time to stop ignoring it and start actually doing something about it. Until like, I don't even know, like 100 years ago, women needed men to survive. Like there was no way a woman could survive without a man in most cultures on this planet. Women could not open their bank accounts, women could not vote, women could not own things, like quite literally, without a man being present. If the man died, then that was something else, but they needed that man initially for them to be able to own anything or to do anything in their lives. So it's normal to think that something that has been growing in our brain for hundreds and thousands and maybe even millions of years cannot be erased in 100 years, right? But somehow we get punished and we get torn down because we are chasing this male validation. We dress only for men, which, by the way, I don't think that's true. We care so much if everyone likes us. We care so much to be attractive. We wear a lot of makeup. We blah blah blah. Indeed we do, but at the same time, even if a little bit of our behavior, not all of it, because most of it is coming from ourselves, we want to be pretty, we want to look ourselves in the mirror and be like, oh fuck, you're hot as fuck. Even if it comes from male validation, these men or we ourselves need to understand that this male validation is something that kept us living for a long time. And the problem is that now social media, although now it's better because I feel like a lot of people are not so addicted with likes and followers and whatever. But those cues that we needed survival based on, so how many people liked you. Because if you were not liked in a village or in a tribe before, then you would probably not be able to survive, right? And so social media plays into that, and they force us to like, force us to comment, force us to text. Which these are things are not predictable. Like you cannot predict how many likes you're gonna get, how many texts you're gonna get. And so all of these uncertainties spike our dopamine, play with our hormones, and also play with this validity. Our brains develop to seek for this social reinforcement because that means that we have somewhat of a safety, that no one's gonna kill us, that no one's gonna hunt us down, eat us, kick us out of the tribe, I don't know. Also in the past, women were looking for men in their resources and what they had so they could take care of them, because before, again, women did not own anything, and if you finally give us the independence and the power to own things right now, of course we're going to take advantage of it because it's ours and we deserve it, but our brains evolved to not have those things. And so it's of course one of our instincts to look for those resources, to look for that handsome man, to look for that smart man, to look for that rich man. And this is why I'm never going to judge anyone who goes for a very rich, attractive guy and doesn't want to work for the rest of their lives, because this is something that has been taught to us and we have evolved to want for thousands and thousands of years. And of course most women now take advantage of the fact that we don't need that anymore, but our brains still want that to some extent, a little bit of extent. I would never do that, but I think it's normal for some people to keep into that past brain system. It's just more natural to them. Men of course want an attractive woman because they're very testosterone heavy, and in the past women that were attractive gained the higher positions, like got married to the highest position men. So of course we want to be pretty. Of course we want validation from men. Of course we want to be the best looking possible and put ourselves together and be beautiful around them. And of course we're gonna look at the reactions of men when we're on the street, or in some instances, even if we don't like it, or even if we hate ourselves for it, or even if we don't understand it, it's gonna be something in our instinct, because it's just something that our brain learned to do in thousands and thousands of years. And I think it's also ingrained in us because when you're young, a woman would most likely get compliments, oh, you're so beautiful, but a man will get compliments, oh, you're so smart, you're so brave, you're so, and so on. Women get a lot of beauty compliments when they're young, so of course they're gonna learn to chase it when they're older too. So I hope you're on my side, that it's not your fault, and it's not our fault as women either. It's not men's fault well, no, it is men's fault actually, because it was their choice for those thousands and thousands of years to not give us anything. It was their choice. But that's a story for another day. I don't want to hate on men now. Anyway, it's not our fault as women that we want this male validation, and I hope men are listening to this too, because this is also important for them. However, in the society that we live in today, although it's very important to also be pretty, because pretty privilege is a thing and it's a huge thing. It's also important to not be addicted to this male validation, and I think a lot of young girls, and I can say that I was like this before too. Even if I'm asexual, even if I didn't even think of wanting to be in a relationship, even if I genuinely did not care and give a fuck if a man liked me or not. And I'm not even straight. Like, I would much rather a woman like me than a man like me, but that's another story. I still get this desire to be validated by men, and for a man to look at me and smile, or for a man to look at me and find me pretty. Like, just this is all. Like, I feel like I have this desire of men looking at me and finding me pretty, and it's nice when they do it. And I'm not saying this dictates my life. This didn't used to dictate my life either, but it was a part of my life, and it was a small thing that I didn't understand and I didn't want to accept it, and I did not enjoy at all. Like, I was so annoyed that I wanted this. So I think we should acknowledge it. We should accept that it's happening. We should accept that this is something normal that's happening in our brains, and most women feel this, but also not let it take over our lives, because in many ways we are addicted to some men. We are addicted to the safety that they bring us. We get into this toxic mentality because for men, we don't really matter. Men used to have a lot more women than women had men. Like, I don't think they cared that much unless it's a very good man that he's gonna have multiple partners, or you're not gonna be the one he marries, or stuff like that. But maybe you care. Like, I think in most cases for them, as long as they have some sort of safety net, they don't feel lonely, and they have sex, they're fine with whoever. Which is the saddest thing on the planet, but yeah, that's what I learned about men in 20 years of my life. So if this desire for male validation makes you always, I don't know, anxious, or makes you dependent on people, or makes you have weird obsessive crushes, or yeah, just things like that you really, really need that validation. And if someone doesn't give you that validation and you like them, then it's kind of fucked up. And I think you should really look at it from a perspective that, okay, why do I feel this? Why don't I have it in my life that makes me so addicted to these external sources of validation? I can validate myself in most cases, and I can love myself in most cases, and I don't really need that validation anymore. Like, I'm not in survival mode. Honestly, reminding your body and brain that you're not in survival mode and you're fine and you can take care of yourself for the rest of your life, that's so important, because chances are you're gonna get into some situation where you're gonna be addicted to a person, and you're gonna feel like if you're not with them, then your life is gonna end. Like, I know people who feel like that, and although they're not gonna die from breaking up with that person, they're gonna be very, very sad from breaking up with the person. And of course it makes sense, and of course you should go through that sadness, but at the same time, if it's just a crush, if it's just something that's like a one-time thing, or yeah, just staying obsessed with those crushes and with those hormones, I think it's so important to stop for a second and name it and analyze it and be like, okay, where is it coming from? If you're feeling emotional roller coasters from texts, or if you're feeling like you have very obsessive crushes, and yeah, like every time you have a crush, it just like goes over your brain. And this used to be me, and I think if I get out of my current relationship, it might be me again too, because it's just like a pattern in the way that my brain works. And that's why I hate having crushes usually. Or sometimes it's fun, but most of the time I hate having crushes. You should really look into it, and you should really journal on it and develop yourself on it. And you should really move on from people that don't text you back, that are not reliable, that it's clear that they're not good for you, that they're bad guys, that and so on and so forth. Because of course we're addicted to people that don't want us back, or give us some signs that they want us, but not all of the signs. That's how you get a person addicted, even a guy, but for them it's a little bit easier. The only thing that I want you to take out of this video, honestly, is that male attention is not your personal weakness, and that you should do something about it if you find it like that. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, I'm sure you're gonna like this one too. Love you guys. Have the best day of your life. Kisses. Bye bye.